Hello and welcome to an episode of Historically Marked. I am Jason in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, just outside Acrisure Stadium, whatever you want to call it. I know locals like to stick to what it was originally called, but I am standing close to a plaque where it is noted where the first professional game in football in the United States was played. Let me go ahead and read it off to you. All right, so I know the trees are blocking, but yes, that is definitely, oh, never mind. Yeah, that's the stadium where the Pittsburgh Steelers play. But over here is a historical marker, the first professional football game on November 12th, 1892 at Recreation Park. A few blocks northwest of here, the Allegheny Athletic Association defeated the Pittsburgh Athletic Club 4-0. The winning touchdown was scored by William Pudge Heffelfinger, who received $500 for playing. He was the first football player known to have been paid outright, and pro football traces its origin from this game. Put up by the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission in 2005. So it's easy to say that every professional sport in America, be it baseball, hockey, bowling, football, basketball, I mean, they all evolved to what it is today. Like, over the years, there have been rule changes. There have been lots of changes. Let's just put it to you that way, and a lot of stuff that define the game. But the modern era of American football can be considered to have begun after the 1932 NFL playoff championship game, which was the first indoor championship game since 1902. But in 1920, the American Professional Football Association was formed. This league changed its name to the National Football League, or what we know today as the NFL, 2 years later, and eventually became the Major League of American Football. Beginning primarily as a sport in Midwestern industrial towns in the United States, professional football eventually became a national phenomenon. So football was around in the United States. I mean, like, I'm talking about gridiron football now, not what the English and just about anywhere outside the United States considers football, like soccer or rugby. But it did evolve from soccer and rugby, and pretty much maybe going as far back as the early 1800s. Yes, there have been a lot of football teams, but nothing, professional. But a lot of schools, meaning like college and even, especially Ivy League colleges such as Harvard and Princeton, they began a tradition known as Bloody Monday, beginning in 1827, which consisted of a mass ball game between the freshman and sophomore classes played at the Delta, where Memorial Hall now stands. But that lasted until 1860. But just right after the Civil War, football became a popular sport again. But again, it was not played professionally, again for the Ivy Leagues. Now, a gentleman named Walter Camp is widely credited to be the father of American football. He lived from 1859 to 1925, and he was an American college football player and coach, as well as a sports writer. And he had a long list of inventions. He created the sports line of scrimmage and the system of downs. And with many other men, including John Heisman, the Heisman Trophy, and Pop Warner and a few others, Camp was one of the most accomplished persons in the early history of American football. And I mean, there's so much history I can get into, but back then, I mean, even before, like, in the 1890s, being paid to play sports or play football, that was considered dishonorable at the time. Of course, tell that to the Kelsey brothers today. Or I don't even know who's the highest paid football player in the NFL today, but yeah, you kind of know where I'm going. But football is, I mean, I do consider football an American pastime. I mean, I love baseball more than, I mean, I don't really care too much for football, I'll tell you that, but I will say that, I mean, people love hockey as much as people love baseball. So it's safe to say then the first professional football game can be traced here from a radius. And I'm sure Pittsburgh Steelers fans are glad to have that claim to fame. All right, thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Historically Marked. I am Jason in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Jason signing off.